Okay, people, how we doing? It's Fresh Mark Sense with another fresh review. Today, I'll be reviewing Amber Fever by Mancera, a sweet caramel whiskey concoction, a little bit similar to the previous Mancera Precious Oud, and this also has similarities in its caramel note to Pure Excess. Now, starting off this perfume, it starts with a magnetic cap, great sprayer. Uh, when you spray it on, I'm just gonna, I would do two, but well, that's enough. You get a nice caramel off the top note. The tonka bean is very sweet, creamy, quite similar to Instant Crush. That is a bergamot and saffron opening, but that's also quite creamy. Some people say that smells like hairspray because it's not as creamy, but it's sweet. But I feel that that's more of a synthetic sweetness that is characterized in a lot of Mancera, but it's actually quite nice. And if you can smell, you can still pick out the notes in that. But with this, the creaminess resembling Precious Oud's bergamot note, which that is also present in Gold Prestigium. The creaminess of this note is really is amplified by the tonka and whiskey note. But when you go into the mid, you get some nice white florals, and I don't get much woods in here, but simply it's a sweet, creamy fragrance. There's a nice ambery resinous touch, but it's not too balsamic. It's not too resinous or thick. It's more of a light ambery touch, but it has some resiny, sparkly characteristic to it. More like the amber stone rather than an ambiguous, salty vibe. Yes, it's like a salted caramel. So I'd say that sort of rounds up the general fragrance of Amber Fever. It has resemblance to Precious Oud in its creamy bergamot note, but it holds sweetness in a more caramel sweet, almost like a brandy snap caramel, but is more powdery. Some people consider it feminine in the opening, but I consider it completely unisex because the caramel note is powdery yet slightly resinous, resembling the amber stone, yet it has a creaminess that would resemble the creaminess of sandalwood, but it doesn't have that woody touch. I don't feel it feels hollow because the whiskey note fills it with a nice booziness, but it's not boozy or into the animalic zone. It's not leathery boozy. It's more of a creamy booziness that is mixed with the amber, bergamot, and whiskey note with caramel. A little bit of a, as I said before, it turns into a brandy snap. There's a slight tinge of sweetness to it, but it's not overbearing or cloying. I'd say the brandy snap note in Azara Home Intense is a lot more prominent and projecting, yet the projection on this fills a whole room at the same time. So the projection on this is it's just out of this world, just like a lot of Mancera's, same like Instant Crush and Precious Oud, same projection, but the actual caramel note is not too overbearing or not overly sweet, and it doesn't have its own scent cloud. It blends very well with the other scents of whiskey and creamy bergamot. I'd say it almost goes into a honeyed milk note, but it doesn't, it's not really lactonic. It's not creamy enough to be lactonic, but it forms a very nice creamy whiskey caramel bubble. So that rounds up the scent of Amber Fever by Mancera. Check it out. Tell me what you think about it. And in the comment section, if you think it's unisex, feminine leaning, or if that doesn't matter to you, it doesn't really matter to me. For me, I think of the versatility of this. I could wear this casually. I could wear this in a formal setting to have a slight sweetness without being childish. It's a very mature scent, ages 25 and up, or I mean, you can be, actually it's a very sweet scent as well. I think it would be quite nice for the younger crowd as well if they could afford this. This is going like at £280 if you don't get at discounters, but at discounters you can find it at 150. And if you do PayPal Pay in 3, I didn't actually do that, but if you do that, remember that you can have a maximum of 10 at a time pay in 3. So I found that the hard way, but they are apparently improving the system, or so I've been told over the phone when I checked it out. But it's a very creamy, sweet scent bubble. You can get it for about £50 if you do pay in 3. Um, so I would get this while you can if you're into gourmand scents, but not something too cloying. If you want a mature gourmand scent, I think it's a great alternative. But I do prefer the more rounded caramel note in Pure Excess. I thought that this would be a stronger version of Pure Excess, and I actually found that this Pure Excess, although it goes for very cheap, I would also recommend this because I'm going to spray this on the other hand. That's why I didn't spray it twice on the other hand. I remember now. Because the caramel note in this mixed with a little bit of tarragon. The greenness of the tarragon actually opens up the sweetness, opens up to the sweetness of caramel. And it has a whiskey note as well, which is quite nice. Definitely the greenness in this perfume makes it seem a little bit less sophisticated with the caramel note. It makes a caramel note seem a little bit less sophisticated, but it definitely opens you up to the caramel note and really encapsulates the whole scent as caramel being in the middle note and the green notes surround it to amplify the scent. But it's a fantastic long-lasting caramel note, and I don't see the reason. If you have Pure Access, I feel that you don't really need Amber Fever, but Amber Fever has a more long-lasting, because it's Mancera, um, caramel sweet note, and it's a bit more sugary. It's a bit more sugary. I've been meaning for a long time to actually compare these two side by side, so I had to do it in this review for people who bought Pure Access and don't want to spend extra money, because I'm all about saving you guys money as well, and I don't want you to go out and buy a scent unnecessarily if I went for a whole bottle, even if that's my mistake. But I don't really think it's a mistake. I love Mancera fragrances and they last a long time. And this sugary, ambery, resinous, a little bit whiskey note is fantastic. And I definitely consider layering this with the other, because I was thinking it could be an alternative, but I know I would love mixing it together because that's what I love doing. I love to confuse people and make people guess, keep people guessing about what scent I'm wearing and where that intoxicating smell is coming from. Hopefully it's coming from me, and in all the right ways, you know. So Precious Oud is one fragrance that has a more creamy note, and I feel that I prefer this a little bit over Amber Fever. But for the sugary caramel note, I think Amber Fever is a winner. So check this out if you like sugary caramel note, or if you like pure caramel, go for Pure Excess. And if you like the creaminess of Amber Fever, check out a sample of Precious Oud before you buy it, because that is also 150 if you get it at discounters. But don't forget about pay in 3, because that is a good option. I'm not being sponsored, by the way, but I did get a lot of perfumes that way, so it's best not to lie about it, and tell you guys how to get it in an affordable way. So stay fresh, guys. Let me know what you know in the comments and how you feel about all these fragrances.